Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Okay, today we're going to start from the section 6. So it's on your page 194. If you have the same book as me, it's around that page, 194. And I'll chant this section and then we will go through the explanation. Asanneva sabhavati asad brahmeti veda chet asti brahmeti ched veda santamenam tato viduriti tasyaisha eva sharira atma yav purvasya athato nuprashnaha uta vidvanamullokam pretya kaschana gacchati. Aho vidvanamullokam pretya kaschin samashnuta. Sokamayata bahusyam prajayeti satapotapyata satapastaptva idagam sarvam asrajata yadidam kincha tatsrishtva tadevanupravishat tadanupravishya satchatyarcha bhavat niruktam cha nilayanam cha vijnanam cha satyam chandritam cha satyam abhavat yadidam kincha tat satyamittya chakshate tadapyesha shloko bhavati. Okay, so last time we saw this portion asanneva sabhavati asad brahmeti veda chet. So the one who knows themselves, or the one who does not believe in Brahman, if someone doesn't believe in Brahman, then they themselves are non-existent. They become non-existent because Brahman is existence. And the one who believes in Brahman, they become existent. And we saw different implications of this. So obviously the one who does not believe in Brahman becomes non-existent because Brahman is existence. It's like us talking and saying we have no tongue. We can't do that, right? So if we say we don't believe in Brahman being pure consciousness, then how is it that we can see, hear, smell, taste, touch, think? How is it we can do that? So if we say we don't believe in Brahman, that means we won't be able to live. But if we say that we believe in Brahman, we believe in something, then it makes sense that we can see, hear, taste, touch, smell. Also, what we saw is, if somebody doesn't believe in a divine reality, it need not even be Brahman, but if somebody does not believe in something much higher than themselves, then there's no such inspiration to walk the path of morality. There's no dharma that they're going to practice in their lives because they don't believe in any higher principle. So it's as though they are non-existent, because their life becomes purposeless, it becomes meaningless, and it's non-existent because they are unable to live to their fullest potential. Whatever ability and capability they have, they're not making use of it. But if somebody believes that there's some higher divinity, higher being, then there's an inspiration to walk the path of dharma. There's an inspiration to become better, to lift ourselves higher and take ourselves to our full potential. And that's when we really feel alive. When we do not function in our full potential, when we do not use our talents and abilities, we feel dead and uninspired. So that is also another meaning for non-existent. And someone who believes in something higher, greater, becomes alive, existent. Now, here it says, Tasya eshaha eva sharira atma. So of that vijnanamaya, actually this should be the vijnanamaya, this is the atma of it. The anandamaya is the atma of the vijnanamaya. So tasya esha eva sharira atma yav purvasya. Of the previous vijnanamaya, the anandamaya is the inner self, the inner self. Now, we're going to go to another section, as I mentioned last week. In this other section, what's happening is there are 3 questions. There are 3 questions, and I'll read them out. I'll explain the questions, but he tackles, for now, just the first question. So now I am on page 199, part 2 of this. He says, Athatho nu prashnaha. So now there are questions. Anuprashnaha. Anuprashnaha means questions following whatever was said. So thereafter, thereafter all of what we have covered so far about the 5 sheets, ataha, therefore, anuprashnaha. There are some questions. Uta is an indication of a question. Question is, avidvan amum lokam pretya. Avidvan, somebody who is ignorant, somebody who does not know the self. Amum lokam pretya, having departed this world, kaschana gacchati. Does he go or does he attain Brahman or not? Does he go somewhere? Does he go there? Does he go to Brahman or not? Aho, or vidvan, the knower of Brahman, amum lokam pretya, having left this world, kaschit samashnuta u. Does that knower obtain that Brahman or not? So you're only going to see 2 questions here, but I'll explain why there are 3. So the 2 questions we see here are, does the ignorant person leaving this world attain Brahman or not? And then the second question we saw, does the wise being leaving this world attain Brahman or not? Now he doesn't answer any of these questions yet. So therefore we posit a third question. And the third question we posit is, does Brahman exist or not? So this is something that we understand from what's about to come. Because what's about to come is he's going to have 7 proofs that Brahman exists. So this is the question that we're dealing with. Does Brahman exist or not? And if you remember in Panchadashi, in chapter 3, this is a question also posed by the student. After going through all the 5 sheets, the student said, oh, I don't think there's anything there. After going through the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, and the student says, well, there's nothing there. I don't experience anything. And then the teacher said, well, who is it that is saying I don't experience anything? So a question we're dealing with is, does Brahman exist or does Brahman not exist? Now, this is answered through the words that are coming next, okay? So the first thing is, what we had seen so far in the beginning, we saw that first, Brahma Vedapnoti Param, that the knower of Brahman attains the supreme, right? And what is the knower of Brahman? They attain supreme. What is that supreme? Satyam Jnanam Anantam, existence, consciousness, bliss, which is known in the cave of the heart. Yo Veda Nihitam Guhaya, which is known in the cave of the heart. And from that Brahman, which is this Atman, the whole world came about, right? We had space, then from space, air, fire, water, earth, etc. And then that's how we came to all the 5 koshas. Food came about, and then a purusha, a being was made, and this being has 5 sheets. So the first proof that Brahman exists is jagat kāraṇatvāt. Jagat kāraṇatvāt means that there must be a cause for the world. Brahman exists due to the fact that there must be a cause of the world. Here the student is thinking, Brahman doesn't exist because I don't see Brahman. I cannot grasp Brahman. I cannot touch Brahman. I cannot think of Brahman. So Brahman must not exist. They must be inventing some kind of word in the Upanishads, Brahman. But I have not seen anything, so I don't believe it exists. But in the commentary, it says, how can you say that when you clearly see that there is a world? There is a world that is experienced. There's various names, forms, beings, life that we experience day to day. And every single effect must have a cause. We have never seen an effect without a cause. Whenever there's something there, we're able to say, what happened? How did this get there? Right? If we see that there's a computer here, obviously there's somebody who made the computer. And that's why people brand it. This is a Dell computer. This is an Apple computer. So everything that is an effect has to have a cause. And therefore, there's a world, so there must be a cause, and that cause is Brahman. And the world is known to be is. We say this bottle is, this book is, this chair is. Everything is existing. It's not non-existent. It's not that the world is not. It is. So there is a world and it's existing. And therefore there must be a cause of the world. So this is reason number 1. Then the Purva Pakshin, the one who's objecting, says, okay, fine, you say there's a cause of the world, and sometimes maybe we can't see the cause, like the seed and the tree. You can't see the seed, but you can see the tree. So just like Brahman, you can't see Brahman, but you can see the world. Okay, I get that. But maybe that cause is insentient. Who's to say that it's a sentient entity? Maybe it's insentient. Maybe it's some kind of energy, some kind of atom, some kind of thing like that. The second reason is called so akamayat. So akamayat, meaning that if you see in the back in the verse, it says so akamayata, right? Brahman willed. So Brahman willed. This shows that there was a conscious cause behind everything. There's a conscious cause behind everything. It cannot be an inert cause, because it says so akamayata. Brahman willed, Brahman desired. And how did he desire? Bahusyam prajayeyeti. He said, may I become many. Saha tapo atapyata. And he did this penance. He did this austerity. Satapas taptva. And after doing this austerity, idam sarvam asrajat. He created all of this. Yad idam kincha. Whatever is here. So the second reason is so akamayat. So akamayat, he means he is the one that willed everything. Willed everything. Now when we look at this, what do you mean that Brahman willed? See, whenever our Upanishads say Brahman desired, Brahman willed, Brahman wanted this creation to take place, Brahman has no desire. We know that. Brahman has absolutely no desire. Brahman has no mind and intellect equipment to have a desire. And Brahman himself is Purna, is full, is complete. So whenever it says Brahman wills, all that it is telling us is that there is a conscious entity behind creation. There is a conscious entity. It doesn't happen on its own. Because whenever we hear the word desire, we associate it with a conscious entity. A bottle cannot desire anything. A book cannot desire anything, but a person can. So akamayata is to tell that there's a conscious entity behind this appearance of the world. And here, see, how is the world appearing? So many people ask, well, how is it that the world is appearing like it is? If Brahman doesn't really do anything, doesn't think, doesn't will, doesn't desire, then how is Brahman appearing as this world? How is that happening? So in Mandukya Upanishad, it says very beautifully, it's the swabhava. It's a nature of Brahman. So for example, our eyes, their nature is to see. Now, when we look at the sky, we see that the sky is blue. We're seeing that the sky is blue, but the sky is not actually blue. It's not actually blue. It's just that there's a limitation in our eyes. So we cannot see the sky as it is. We're seeing it as blue because our eyes cannot go that far. Our eyes cannot see that far. So we're seeing it as blue. Our eyes, swabhava, is to see, and when we look at a vast ocean, we can't see that far. It might appear it's blue to us. It might appear that it looks blue, but it might not actually be blue. It's just that we cannot see that far. Now, what is the swabhava, or the nature of Brahman? The nature of Brahman is to appear. That's because Brahman is of the nature of existence, consciousness, bliss. So its nature is to exist. Its nature is to reveal itself, to express, to manifest its nature. And its nature is infinitude, right? Now, Brahman it manifests as this whole world. Now, just like when we're seeing the sky, we're seeing blue because we cannot see the depth of it. And just like when we're seeing the ocean, we're seeing blue because we cannot see the depth of it. Brahman is this world. But because we cannot see the depth of it, we are only seeing the world. Brahman is the world. Brahman is the world. But we cannot grasp the depth of Brahman because our eyes can't go there, our mind can't go there. We can't grasp the depth of Brahman. So we see it as the world. So it is Brahman's nature to appear. And some people will say that it's Maya. It's Maya. Adds Maya. And that is true also. We add the term Maya. But from the absolute standpoint, Brahman alone is. Brahman alone is. So it's appearing. That's all that's happening. It's appearing. That's its nature. It's not an action. It's not a will. It's appearing. And it's appearing as it is. Because it cannot appear as an object. It's appearing as it is. But you and I cannot see it as it is with our eyes, with our mind. So we are seeing it as an object. We are seeing it as a world. So, akamayata. And here he says, bahusyam prajayeya iti. It's as though Brahman said, may I become many. It's as though Brahman says, may I become many. And this is not Brahman becoming many. It's Brahman appearing as many. And this, what is many? What is the many that's appearing is not many substances, but many names and forms. We saw in Chandogya Upanishad that when there is clay and it appears as pot, it appears as pitcher, it appears as glass, it is the same substance, but it's just a new name and form. New name and form, pot. New name and form, glass. New name and form, pitcher. So a new name and form does not mean a new substance. Because they're all clay. It's all one substance, clay. If you remove that clay, your name and form will vanish. They'll go away. That one substance, water, is appearing as a different name and form, wave, a different name and form, froth, a different name and form, bubble. But it is just water. So when it says, bahusyam prajayeya, may I become many, it is really that one substance appearing as various names and forms. And it's just an appearance. It's appearing without giving up its nature. It is we who can't understand its nature. That's why we think it's the world. But Brahman appears as Brahman's own self. Brahman appears as Brahman's own self. If we think it's the world, it is our shortcoming. Satapo atapyata. What do you mean that Brahman did tapasya? Brahman performed austerity. Brahman performed austerity here. Austerity is jnanam. It's pure awareness. It's pure awareness. Why we call it austerity? Why is pure awareness austerity? Because pure awareness, as it is, it enables all austerity to happen. It enables all the different functions, the seeing, the hearing, the smelling, the tasting, the thinking. It enables all austerity to happen. It is the consciousness that enables that. So don't think that somebody's sitting in the sky and contemplating and thinking, okay, let this happen. No, Brahman doesn't do anything. Brahman doesn't do anything. Now here, so he created all of this, meaning he appears as himself. Please always remember this. He appears as himself, but we think it's the world. Whatever we see, hear, smell, taste is only Brahman. Whatever we can think of is only Brahman. Now, here's the next reason. Actually, all of what I said is part of the first reason. Okay, so all of what I said is part of the first reason, jagat kāraṇatvāt. The second reason actually is guhayam upalabhyate. Guhayam upalabhyate means that it is available as I. Brahman exists because it is available as I. Huh? So here it says, tat srishtva. Tat srishtva. So that Brahman, srishtva, having created this, tat eva anupravishad, entered into this creation. So that Brahman, having created this, tat srishtva, tat eva anupravishad, entered into it. And then tat anupravishya, having entered, it manifested. Okay, so we'll just see this portion. There's a whole discussion here in the commentary. How did Brahman enter and why would Brahman enter? The first question is, why would Brahman enter creation if Brahman is a substratum of the creation? Right? If the pot is made out of clay, why would clay enter the pot? That doesn't make sense. So that has to be ruled out. Maybe Brahman entered the pot not as clay, but as a dust particle. So sometimes, in the clay pot, there's a dust particle. That cannot be because Brahman is partless. There's only Brahman. So there's no parts. Maybe there's some other way that Brahman entered. No, there's no place where Brahman is not. Brahman is a substratum of the whole world. So why are we saying that Brahman entered? Maybe Brahman entered as a reflection of consciousness in the mind. No, Brahman is non-dual. Brahman is only one. Then what do you mean? Brahman entered means Brahman is available as I. When we say Brahman entered as a reflection of consciousness in the mind, we always use that as a methodology of teaching in the beginning for us to understand. But when we get a little bit deeper, we realize that Brahman is here as I. That unvoiced I is Brahman. That witness consciousness is Brahman. Very beautifully, in Upadeshasara, we're doing this Upadeshasara class on the weekends in our Balvihar. And there, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji, he asks this. He says, Manasam tu kim margane krite naiva manasam marga arjavat. This is verse number 17. If one asks, how do you know the self? He says, first ask, is there a mind? And when you ask, is there a mind? And mind here means ego. Is there an ego? If you keep asking, is there an ego? Is there an ego? You will realize that there's none. Naiva manasam, marga arjavat. And this is the direct path. So when we follow that ego that thinks, that wills, that desires, that wants, that is the doer, the enjoyer, that ego, when we look at that ego and trace its source, what happens is that ego falls silent. That ego falls silent. It's as though it collapses. It has no more identity. Because when we face it straight in the eye, and when I say face it straight in the eye, I mean when in silence you close your eyes and you follow through with that ego and trace where it's coming from, it completely collapses. And all that remains is the self, that unvoiced I, without any ego, without any thought. And that is available here, in you, in me. Guhayam upalabhyate. And that's why Brahman exists. Guhayam upalabhyate. It is I. And anybody can do this. It's not something that only, like great Mahatmas can do. No, in our quiet moments, sit and do it. Watch for yourself the disappearance of your own ego. Watch that. And when you and I get a sense of that, then this becomes very real for us. That this ego is actually pishacha. It's a ghost. It's like a goblin entity that's trying to own up everything. But it's really not there. And the more we assert our individuality, the stronger it becomes. The more we lose our individuality, the weaker it becomes. And that's why the whole spiritual path is losing our individuality. To make the ego weak. That's all we're doing. So here, Brahman is because it is I. It is I. It's available as I. The third reason, he says, tad anupravishya, having entered, satcha tyacha abhavat. Brahman manifests as the Sat and Tyat. Sat here means manifest. Tyat means unmanifest. And then Niruktam, Aniruktam cha. It becomes well-defined. Aniruktam, not well-defined. It becomes Nilayanam. It becomes a support. Anilayanam, and without support. Vijnanam, it becomes sentient, that which is capable of knowledge, and avijnanam, insentient, not capable of knowledge. It becomes satyam, transactional reality, and anritam, and falsehood. Satyam abhavat, it becomes all of this. It becomes manifest. Yad idam kincha, whatever is here, tat satyam iti achakshate, is that existence. And about that, there's a verse. Tad api esha shlokaha bhavati. So first, let's look at this. So the third reason, if we want to know in Sanskritam, vibhaktvena avabhasat. Vibhaktvena avabhasat. It means that Brahman appears as two different aspects of creation. What does this mean? If we were to find out what is the source of creation, it has to meet all criteria. All criteria. Meaning, it has to be in that which is manifest, but it has to also be in that which is unmanifest. Okay? So if something is the source of creation, it has to be in something that's manifest, meaning in that which is perceivable to the senses, but it has to also be in that which is unmanifest, like the thoughts. So if we take something like atoms, they can say that it's definitely in the manifest. It's in the table, it's in the chair, it's in the body. But is it in the unmanifest? Is it in the thought? Is it in thoughtlessness? That which is creation, the source of creation, has to be there in two contradictory things. It has to be there in both. Because we see both in creation, it has to be in both. Niruktam. That which is a source of creation has to be in that which is defined. Defined like words, thoughts, language. But it has to also be there in the undefined, which is pure consciousness, which makes everything happen. It has to be there in that which is definable, but also that which is undefinable. It has to be in that which is understood around us, but also that which is not understood. The other boundaries of space and time and galaxies that we have not understood. It has to also be there. It has to be also be the source of that. It cannot just be the source of this. It has to also be the source of that. Nilayanam, anilayanam. It has to be the source of that which is able to support things, like a floor, a house, a ground, but also things without support, subtle things that don't require support. Like time, space. Is it in that? Is it in time? Is it in space? Is it in things which don't require any support? It has to be in something sentient and also insentient. So is it in I? Is it in my first person experience I? Is it in this sentiency? And is it also in the insentient? So if we want to establish what is the source of creation, it has to be in all contradictory things. All of it. Is it in Satyam, means transactional reality? Is it in transactional reality? And is it also in Anritam? Anritam means that illusory state, like dream. Is it there in waking? And is it there in dream? Is it there? Is it there in time, when time is there, and without time? Is it there in time and timeless? Is it there in the space and spaceless? Is it there in name and nameless? Is it there in thought and thoughtlessness? Is it there in all of these things? In all of these contradictory things? If it is there in all of these contradictory things, then that can be called the source of this entire manifestation. But if it's not, then it's not the source. And when we do deep vichara, we find out that it is only pure consciousness that can appear like this. Only pure consciousness that can appear in such contradictory ways. Nothing else. And therefore, that's why Brahman is. Brahman is. So, third reason was vibhaktvena avabhasat. It has the ability to appear as two different aspects of creation. The next one, okay. Now I'm going to read the next section. This is going to be now in your page 208. Okay? So I'm just going to read this part and then we will go to the fourth reason. Okay. Abhaya pratishtha. Asadva idamagra asit tato vai sadajayata tad atmanagga swayamakuruta Tasma tat sukritam uchyate iti yadvai tat sukritam raso vai saha. Okay, let's stop in raso vai saha. Let's stop there. Here, the fourth reason is sukrita prasiddhehe. Means Brahman is independent, self-made, or well-made. And I'll explain, right? In page 208, this is how the verse starts, and then we'll go into inquire into what this means. Asadva idam agra asit. So in the beginning, everything was unmanifest. Asat in this context means unmanifest. So idam agra asit, in the beginning, everything was unmanifest. Tato vai sad ajayata. And then it became manifest. Tadatmanaga swayam akuruta. Meaning that Atman, that self, swayam akuruta, created itself by itself. Tasmat tat sukritam uchyata. Uchyate. So therefore, this Brahman is called sukritam. Sukritam means self-made, and it can also mean well-made. It is called that. So in the beginning of creation, manifestation, it was from unmanifest to manifest. And as we said, it is only Brahman appearing as Brahman. So no other instrument, no other thing is required. Everything is Brahman appearing as Brahman. Just like in the dream, that same dream mind is appearing as everything. It doesn't need anything. It's that same dream mind that's appearing as anything. So Brahman is completely independent, does not need anything. Does not need anything. So this is the meaning self-made. The next meaning is well-made. Well-made means that if we look at this entire creation or manifestation, when things are well made, we know there's a conscious entity behind it. So when things are well made, there's consciousness behind it. And we saw this in Panchadashi chapter 3 also. Any order that we see, any order, if you go to, let's say you go to an airport and you see that things are in order, things are in their place, because somebody is guiding that, somebody is willing that, someone is making sure that there's order and safety. It's not that we walk into a room and chairs and tables order themselves around. That doesn't happen. And now also in the age of AI, we can say that it's AI ordering it, but there's that HI, there's a human intelligence ordering that AI to make that order, right? So when you drive and there you go through an easy pass, okay, there's an order there that every car has to pass it. Yes, there's a machine that does it, but there's human intelligence behind that. There's a sentient entity behind that. Yes, a car can drive itself, but there's a human intelligence behind that. Yes, things can calculate, you type something up in Chat GPT. It's not human. It can calculate, it can respond, but a human intelligence programmed that. So in anything that is made, that is orderly, that is able to function, there is sentiency behind it. There's a conscious entity behind it. So that's why Brahman is, because Sukrita, the world is well made. It's well made. It's functioning in an order. It's a cosmos, and it's not a chaos. In a deeper level, the sun is as though rising and setting every day. The wind is blowing every day. The earth is rotating and revolving in its own time. The planets are held in place. So there is so much law and order. If you just look up at the sky, there's so much law and order. That's something that none of us can do. So there has to be a greater source. So therefore, Brahman is. Brahman is. You cannot say that Brahman is not. The fifth reason that we read is rasatvāt prasiddhehe. Rasatvāt prasiddhehe. So in now your page 211, it says yat vai tat sukritam. This Brahman, which is self-made or well-made, raso vai saha, is the taste of joy, is joy. Rasaga ye vayam labdva nandi bhavati. It having obtained this taste, people become blessed. So here, that sa rasaga, that taste. So Brahman is that taste, that rasa. Rasa means taste. And eva ayam labdva, having obtained this taste, this bliss, anandi bhavati, one becomes blessed. So what does this mean? We saw this also last week. How is it that we become or we experience happiness? How do we experience happiness? Brahman is, the fifth reason is Brahman is because we are able to experience happiness. That means Brahman is. How do you mean? We think that happiness is through accumulation of things. But actually, happiness is through renunciation. Take 5 parts of this situation. You're going for a nice hike. And I share this with you, but we'll revisit this example so that we can take a little clearer look. You're going for a nice hike. So are you happiest when, number 1, you're preparing for the hike? Number 2, when you get to the bottom of that mountain. Number 3, when you are starting to climb up. Number 4, when you almost get to the top. Or number 5, when you get to the top, you finally close your eyes and take a breather. So when are we happiest? Are we happiest when we are preparing for this? Are we happiest when we are in the bottom of the mountain? When we start climbing up? When we're almost there? Or when we're actually there? Most of us will find that we're happiest in the 5th. Why? Because it's in the 5th layer that we renounced everything. In the beginning, packing, our mind is so busy, getting all the supplies. Then when we're in the bottom of the mountain, we're thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to get up there? And then when we're climbing the mountain, we're trying to see how much more to go. And when we're almost there, the mind is preoccupied by, okay, we're almost there, we can make it. So all of these times we're surrounded by thoughts. We cannot really experience that joy, that ananda. But in the fifth, when there are no more objects in the mind, when the mind is completely empty, has renounced all the objects, raso vaisaha, that bliss shines fully forth. Because everything has been renounced, then that bliss is able to just shine fully forth. And we experience then that bliss, pure bliss. We experience it. So the bliss is always coming from within. It's always coming from within. It's not really coming from the object. It's not coming from any object, because not every object gives the same person happiness. Something that will give you happiness may not give me happiness. So it's not coming from that object. It's not coming from that experience. An experience that will make you happy may not make me happy. But bliss is coming from when we renounce all things, all experiences, all expectations, and the mind is completely empty, and that ananda reflects. Then we get a taste of who we truly are. This is how we experience happiness. We have such a twisted notion. We feel that life is all about acquisition, acquire this, acquire that, get this, get that, and then we will feel happy. We can buy the biggest house, but when is your happy moment? Not when you seal the contract. When you sit down, you're like, enough, let everything go. Then you're happy. Then you're happy, right? I'll conclude with one beautiful story I read about two monks. And one monk was always in the zone of renunciation. And the other one said, we have to be practical in life. Accumulation, you accumulate. So they were together and they were stuck in an island. Now, that one monk renounced everything, so he didn't have anything. And the other monk had, let's say, $5. He had money, he had some money with him. And so they said, the other monk with the money said, why don't we find out to see if somebody can take us on a boat somewhere else? Otherwise, we'll be stranded in this island. And the one who renounced everything said, we can just stay in the island. Everything will be fine. We'll just stay and we'll see it through. And the one with the money said, no, let's go. I have money, let's go. And we have to save our lives because it'll get too dark and who knows, all the animals will come. So anyway, they get on a boat and the monk with the money, he gives the $5 and they go across the city and they go across the river and then they come to a little city and they stay there. So the one with the money said, you see, you practice a life of renunciation. Renunciation doesn't do any good. You didn't have money, and so I had to take care of you. I had to take you across the river. I had to bring you to the city, and because of me, you're safe. The one without the money said, actually, renunciation is the way of life. Because I renounced, I didn't have money, but you became my pocket. But don't you know, you also had to renounce your money. You also had to renounce your money to the boatman. And that's how we became safe. So the way of life is not accumulation. Actually, it's renunciation. We have to keep renouncing. And that's how we become safe. So that is just a thought, right? So today we have seen 5 reasons. There are 2 more that we will see next week. 5 reasons why Brahman is. First reason is jagat kāraṇatvāt, because it is the cause of the world. Second reason is guhayam upalabhyate. It is available as I, in the cave of the heart. Third reason, vibhaktvena avabhasat. It appears as two contradictory things. 4. Sukrita prasiddhehe. The world is well made. Therefore, there must be a conscious entity behind it. And 5th, rasatvāt prasiddhehe. We experience bliss. And if we really think deeply, bliss is not coming from objects. It's coming when we renounce everything. It's coming from I. That's why Brahman is. Okay. Close with the prayer, then we can see if anybody has questions. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om.